Alright, so here we are back in the city of Medellin. Back home is what it feels like. Never would have thought that we would have ever said that, but here we are anyway. Just got done with the craziest weekend that we've ever had in our entire lives.
Absolutely.
Albert says absolutely.
If you want to know weekend trip, that was a trip.
Yeah.
Trip at its finest.
We didn't even need to take drugs. It was a trip in itself. We've got a story to tell. The way that story goes is Albert here ended up getting organized an ayahuasca ceremony for the weekend. 2 ayahuasca ceremonies back to back, Friday, Saturday. And we flew into Pasto, Nariño, Colombia, in the mountains of Colombia, basically.
First thing, as soon as we get off the plane, you won't see anybody that looks like us. We were the only gringos in this entire airport. Probably first of the day, if not first of the week.
2 gringos, possibly the only 2 white people in this entire town.
Very likely we're the only 2.
Just landed. Very likely we're the only 2 gringos in this area here.
But definitely felt foreign there.
Yeah, nobody looked like us there. So, here we are in a city where we got tons of other white people, but when we landed there, nobody else looked like us. So we may or may not be the first gringos in this town. Trying to figure out our way around here. Stay tuned for some action. So, we landed, we had a pickup. We had somebody picking us up. This man's name was Esteban. And Albert here organized the meeting through somebody who he met, who I've never met before. So there's 2 people who I've never met before. 2 chains of people who I've never met before. We're meeting up with them, right? We got picked up in a little Kia, and one of the guys straight looks like one of those assassins from Narcos, carrying a pouch with a pistol in the pouch.
He just looks straight up like the assistant in Narcos that just executes people.
Yeah. So here we are, we're like, oh shit. We're getting picked up by some straight hood-looking motherfucker, and they took us to the mountains right away to their house. And we're going on a dirt road, driving on a dirt road, and we get off of this dirt road here, and there's a gate. This guy had to open up a gate. We drove through another dirt road behind a gate, and we're driving, and all of a sudden we stop. This guy just stops the car, turns off the car, and gets out. And we're like, oh yeah, this is where we die. This is where they come and jack all our shit and just assassinate us. Luckily, he was only picking up a bag of trash inside of his driveway. We get to his house, and they pull up, jump out of the car, and he starts showing us around the house. Okay, so we are here in a finca in the middle of nowhere. This is where we came to do some ayahuasca last night, right here in this hut. Got a little fire going right there, little bathrooms right there. Very authentic spot. Hey, come over here. Come over here down this little trail, down this little pathway. I'm gonna show you guys my bakery, my ayahuasca cooking station. I wanted to show you guys this here. Little trail. This right here. This right here may look like a meth lab or coke lab, but it's not. This is actually where they make the ayahuasca. This is the vine of death. This is what they mix with another plant to activate the DMT. But let's go down here. A little cook station, hammock in case you need to relax during the trip. Showed us his ayahuasca cooking station as he takes us down a trail. He's like, yeah, that river right there, that river is drinkable water. We made it undrinkable by jumping in it later on. You already took a dip?
Not yet.
You gotta take a dip?
Yep. Welcome to the Jungle Book. Mowgli's over here.
Some Tarzan nice shit.
Yep. Let's get it.
Let's see it. Oh, watch out, it's about to turn into a porno. 18 plus. 18 plus content coming soon.
Oh, it's cold. Ah.
Dip your shoulders in all the way.
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh man. Coming in?
Yeah. All right. Let's get it.
Yeah, let me film you.
Woo!
Only fans in the jungle, take one.
Uh-huh. Oh, shit. God damn. All the way in.
Yep.
Oh. 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 It's hella mud. We haven't showered in a couple days, so
Yep.
here we are taking our bath. Oh.
When you don't have a wise man once said, when you don't have a shower, you make one.
Gotta be fresh for the ladies. Damn, that is refreshing.
Oh yeah.
My feet here, I'll take it. We definitely muddied up the water.
Oh yeah. He's gonna come back. He's gonna go fuck out of this one.
Oh, cleansed.
Yep.
Brand new.
It's a cenote.
Cenote. The jungle. And just like that, we were cleansed. Anyways, he showed us his cookout and he showed us where the ceremonies are done and all that. Anyway, as the weekend goes on, we don't even stay at his house. He just shows us his house real quick and then we just jump in the car and we start driving. Drove for about an hour, picked somebody up in the next town over. Then we drove from 3 hours from there, going from little town to little town on these crazy roads. He's driving 100 miles an hour down this road. We don't even have seatbelts in the back.
It's not even a crazy road. This is like windy roads in the mountain that you see like going up to a castle. And the cliff, you can see it in this video right here. The cliff is, the tire is basically on the very edge. We're maybe like a couple inches from the cliff every time we make a turn on this mountain.
Yeah.
It's a roadblock.
¿Pasamos no? When we start going on these dirt roads in the middle of this mountain, it's already the middle of the night. So we're driving through the darkness down the sketchiest roads I've ever been on, right on these cliffs. And then after 3 hours of that, or what felt like 3 hours of that, we finally arrived at some raunchy little house. And at this raunchy little house, the first thing I noticed was there's a party going on at the house right above it. And what I learned a little while later was that house right above it was not a normal house. It was a brothel. It was a little brothel where they have whores in the mountains, mountain whores.
So David was like, yeah, I don't really want to do the ceremony, so we went up to the brothel and we had a night there.
I wish that's what happened, but what we ended up doing instead was we ended up staying at this house. We ended up staying at this raunchy little house, and all kinds of motherfuckers were showing up throughout the night. They're like, yep, I'm here to do the ayahuasca ceremony that you guys through the Facebook ad there. So here we were at this raunchy little house, and we sit down at the little kitchen table, on the loopiest little chairs ever, where we're just rocking back and forth, and they serve up some soup. Soup wasn't too bad, but then they just gave us some chicken and rice right after.
This chicken did gymnastics.
This chicken does push-ups.
It's a jiu-jitsu chicken.
Yeah, this chicken does push-ups and squats because this is not your normal chicken. This chicken was the hardest chicken I've ever tried to eat. This is the shit that you can't chew with your teeth. You need to tear that shit up with your hands first and then try to eat it after. So stay tuned for some more chicken stories as we try to order some beef here. So anyway, now that we've got some chicken, some not. Now that we've gotten some not Mike Tyson chicken, now that we got the regular Tyson chicken. Yeah, so basically, once we got to the mountains, once we got to that house, ate some soup and some Mike Tyson chicken, we ended up, well, I didn't end up, Albert here ended up taking the cup of ayahuasca there in this, what looked like a meth house. Anyways, took it, had a strip. I woke up in the morning. Well, actually, even before I woke up in the morning, that night, after we took some Mambe and everything, we saw a wandering spider just chilling by the house, joined the party. If you guys don't know what a wandering spider is, top 10 most poisonous spiders in the world. So definitely not something to play with. But that spider chilled with us until the morning, because when I woke up in the morning, the spider was in a different spot by the house, but still where the whole party was. So very interesting. Anyways, we had some more soup and some more, this time we had some fried fish. I don't know where they got this fish from, but then we drove down the mountain for another 3 hours with the driver and everyone else not having any sleep whatsoever. Every single town we stopped at the first town to get some Gatorade and some waters. Actually, before we even got to that town, we're driving down this mountain, and a lot of the houses on the way down had FARC written on it. If you guys don't know what the FARC is, it's a guerrilla group out of Colombia that has a history of kidnapping people. Anyway, so I guess we were in a FARC territory. We got to the first town down there, went to go get some drinks, and on our way out of the store, police officer stopped us and asked us who the fuck we were, what we were doing. Obviously, we're the only gringos the town has ever seen, so they're like very skeptical. They started checking our passports and matching it up with our IDs and asking what we're up to and so on and so forth. So luckily, after like 30 minutes of interrogation, they let us go. And we drove back to the mountains, a whole bunch of horses.
Let me get this. Oh, really? This looks so cool. You on camera? Yeah, that was fun too.
Ended up in the next town. There was about 4 or 5 more towns on the way, but stopped at each town for a couple minutes. And on the way, we're driving, and all of a sudden, the dude Esteban says, "Oh wait, stop right here." Pull over to the side of the road here. Random ass spot, and our guide is currently purchasing some hallucinogenic cactus from the guy here. Very interesting. He's taking it down right now. I guess somebody's gonna trip. It ain't gonna be me. Can we buy your cactus from you? And the dude, looking like a hillbilly's like, "My cactus? Sure, why not?" And all of a sudden whips out a machete and starts chopping his cactus down. Sold us his cactus. We tied it onto the roof. Anyways, more driving home. Continuation with 3 hours that turned into 6 hours. We finally started getting back to the house, but this guy Esteban, right before getting to the house, decided to pull into a nursery or some plant operation and made us buy some plants for him. Albert and I each bought an avocado tree that we'll probably never see again in our lives. And he bought some other random ass trees. I don't know what that whole situation was about. Anyways, this guy bought some random trees he's gonna plant someday, I guess, right? Yep. Some random trees that he's gonna plant someday, I guess. So we own some trees out there in the in the world somewhere. What else happened before that? Do you remember? Yeah. Oh, that's right. We went to the ayahuasca stores.
Oh yeah, the rock.
Yeah. So we went to the town of Pasco, right? Pasto? Went to the town of Pasto. We stopped there to get some car repair done because we were off-roading for so long that this man's axle blew out or something. So he was at the shop getting it fixed, and while he was getting it fixed, we went to the ayahuasca store. Walking to the ayahuasca store, looking at all this shit, we went into the museum upstairs, and this was an interesting part because we walked into the museum, we're looking at all this crazy looking ayahuasca things, and this man walks up to the flutes and asked the lady, I guess, he asked the lady if he could try the flute out, and she said no, and immediately he just starts blowing in the flute, testing it out, tested those flutes right out.
Esteban makes his own rules.
Esteban makes his own rules, I guess. So he tested out those flutes real well. Ended up not buying the one that he was testing out the whole time, but he still walked out of the store with the flute. And we went to several ayahuasca stores and bought some weird looking shit. Is this one of them? Yeah, we bought shit like this. Bought sticks and shit. We're gonna burn them one day. I guess they smell good, so yep, I got some of that shit. Finally got back to the house, and when we got back to the house, there's people already waiting there. People were already waiting there to do their ayahuasca ceremony that night. And yeah, settled down after about a couple hours, took some ambe, then went to the little area where everyone was doing it and did ayahuasca. Well, I didn't do it. I did Albert, but everybody else did, so we got to see the experience from a distance.
Gringo no tome, gringo no tome. It's just
Yeah.
like, the gringos aren't drinking, the gringos aren't drinking. So yeah, it was just freezing cold. We were kind of considering drinking like half a cup, but David had 2 blankets. I had 1 blanket. We were laying in this hammock, and in this hammock, I was just readjusting this blanket like every few minutes, freezing my ass off. It was in the morning and during the day in this area, it's hot as fuck, and then during the night, it's layers on layers and still freezing cold. So the setting was just not it for me that night, and yeah, there's some interesting things happening that night.
So we got to see the show, got to see other people take it, and very interesting for sure. Woke up that morning, and Esteban came stumbling on in, didn't sleep the whole night because he had to help people go through their experiences. Came out looking terrible, looking like he just stayed up all night doing cocaine or something. And he's like, yo, I need to go get some sleep. So he went to bed, but then he sent us in his friend's car, which was like a wannabe race car. Dude had a freaking racing steering wheel in this 1983 Mazda. Yeah, we ended up going and getting some breakfast. 30 minutes later, Esteban pulls up, looking like he just slept for 13 hours, even though he probably didn't even sleep for 30. Looking brand new. Said, all right, guys, I'm heading out. I gotta go do my daily shit. So you guys can just go back to my house and chill till your flight. And that's what we did. Came back to his house and just sat there by ourselves for about 2 or 3 hours. And then one of his friends came, picked us up, took us to the airport, and that's the end of the story, essessentially, right? Anything that you think I'm missing?
Man, there's a lot. There's just things about this trip that you can't even explain. It's the vibe, how everything went. It was can't even put it into words.
Yeah, so we try to put it into words for you. We'll try to also put in the videos that we got. So we got a couple videos so far, so we'll try to put it into words and videos for you guys to see. But that whole weekend was a trip and a half. I don't know if I've ever experienced anything that weird or that crazy. I don't even know if I'll ever be able to compare to that. So overall, good experience. Overall, great area. We're gonna come back there, no doubt. So we will see you when we come back.